this? Guess I'll find out. Okay. And we're back. Last time, if you remember, it's been a couple weeks, we bought a shack. Well, we didn't buy it, it was given to us for free by a nice old lady at a fishing village. So we don't have to worry about getting money anymore, which is good. Nice little hand up. Before we go into the church, I'm gonna look around this area a little bit more. Hey, I think I know who that is. The lady said her husband is a cryptozoologist.
That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. You don't have a reason to. Yet. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy bobbing in the water.
Do we? I mean... I thought that was something on the ground there. Guess not. I guess this is a dead end, except for going up there. So, I'll make my way back that way. And maybe I'll double check over here real quick. Looks like this is a dead end too.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this gem.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Gary the crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
I have a lot more respect for cryptozoologists, personally. He must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
You don't seem too happy to see the RCM.
Oh, no. It's all right. I'm just busy. What's this about?
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn waterlock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81.
The waterlock's been fixed. It was fine when I crossed it.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, is what he was supposed to say at the beginning. What makes it so difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case.
What sorts of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid.
How big is this phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Why are you so interested in this stick bug? Doesn't seem to be as colorful as some of the other cryptids I've heard about.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
So what have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one?
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Lena said there's been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis?
Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions.
That's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
Tell me more about these traps.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Lena designed the traps?
Yes,
How do the traps work?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
What are you using as bait?
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
A carnivorous stick insect? Seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one.
What will you do if the traps don't work?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Let me ask you about something else.
Yes. What?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
She's seen it?
Really? She sighted the phasmid? She never told me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, and come back and check the traps later.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
That seems like a dead one would be just as useful as an alive one, from a scientific perspective.
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting.
What if we check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Chaos is my method. I am its scion.
Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help.
So where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
What? Aren't you having fun?
Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of these traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
What if I encounter the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Lay it on me thick.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
I'm ready. Let's go to it.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. What about his eager-to-leave friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps.
How did you become a cryptozoologist?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
So you're living your childhood dream out here?
It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
Why not just be a zoologist? Real animals can be puzzling too.
Real? I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
Honestly, being a cryptozoologist trumps most of the garbage I've seen people do.
My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you?
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
So what kinds of evidence do you use?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the Phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
You think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough?
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places.
So you've never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
So how many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have proven to be real?
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
And the Insulindian Phasmid will be the 3rd.
Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Thanks for explaining that. Now, about something else.
Yes?
I'll leave the specific cryptid talk for later.
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out His notebook.
Is this the third one?
Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about. After a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization.
Not a lover of the great outdoors?
I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Sadly, I think I might be a drunk or a degenerate. Maybe even both.
Dark times will do that to good men.
Do you know anything about the man hanged behind the whirling in rags?
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes, is he? Strange. He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
Is this your mug?
My mug? Why would you think that?
Seems like you were calling to it longingly when you cried Yellow Man.
Oh, no, that's not... Why would I be calling to a broken mug?
Still seems suspicious. Did I mention this mug was found at the scene of a lynching?
Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer.
Mystery solved. He's also the house he owns the house that we unlocked the door to.
You're not going to find me, are you?
I am, for 100 real.
Okay, I deserve that. And I won't do it again. You have my word. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in another man's property, I've been having trouble at work lately. The Koikos are price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law.
How'd you get into the trash container?
I know a guy who works with the trash collection services. CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez.
So why are you getting into trash cans?
So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, the man who was hanged behind the whirling in rags, into that trash container?
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that.
Do.
I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know?
Okay, then what happened?
Then I came out to clean up the rags, because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor. You've heard this sound before, but where?
What's that strange sound?
What sound?
That clinking I heard when you moved.
Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash. Could be the wind shifting some garbage nearby.
The sound you heard was not the sound of something easily abandoned.
You wouldn't know anything about the victim's missing armor, would you?
Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor. But I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
Let's move on now.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
You're a cryptozoologist too?
No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way. But I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
There probably is a follow-up to this, but you can't think of any. Doesn't matter. Waste of time anyway. Gotta keep moving.
You're surprised to see my colleague, Lieutenant Kitsuragi.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, this is that racist.
Will you grant us 3 wishes, Gary?
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact.
You have a problem with Saolites?
No problem at all.
Sounds like some conspiracy topic. You might be able to discuss it with him when the lieutenant isn't here. If you can remember it.
Alright, let's try this. It's not quite 50-50. We'll give it a shot.
That shirt
Yes.
looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons,
I get
barely
more
keeping
armor.
that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath.
Something more in underneath it?
Yes, like a piece of ceramic armor, for example. One that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other, resembling pearls or marbles, stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives.
I see you're a connoisseur of high-quality combat gear.
I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. I was ashamed of what I did. And I didn't want you to know.
We're not detecting falsehood, sire. He's gearing up to admit the truth. This shame is surprisingly sincere.
Gary, what's going on?
Later, Morale. I've got apologizing to do.
No, you've got explaining to do.
Give me that armor, now.
He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat. But so light to hold, like a bag of cotton.
So why did you really put those clothes in the trash?
Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left. So I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have... Fuck.
It's okay. It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Sealite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
They were thoroughly conservative men, he realizes suddenly. It's difficult to say what the lieutenant thinks of this historic apology. His face does not belie emotions.
Why did you lie to me, Gary?
Because I was weak. I should have told you the moment I saw you. But
The hell, Gary? You in trouble?
I'll explain later.
Do you know who killed the hanged man?
I always thought it was the Union. Some Union hardasses. Lynched him because of the strike. But almost everyone in town knows that. I wish I could tell you more.
This is all he knows.
Are we done here, Gary?
Yes, absolutely. I will never do anything like this again.
Thank you for your cooperation. So when are you gonna give me my money? I need that 100 real. For your littering. I can't remember why I fined him. It's for something stupid. Put it in that box. Where's that trap over here? Is this it? No. Said it was to the south. Oh, this is it.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building loom over the reeds. They whisper amongst themselves, confidently. Snowflakes cling to their shivering stems. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
It'll be in the next one, surely.
Surely. Anyway, the air is nice and fresh here.
Nice to get out and about every once in a while. Looking for phasmids? Oh yeah, superstar sunglasses, baby. Now that's disco. Let's see. Can I go up there from... I don't think so. No, I can't go up on that side at all. Okay, I know what that's going on there. Said one was to the north of the church. Near like a radio station. There's something there. Hey, money.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
What is this thing anyway?
It's military, a service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
It's gonna be impossible to get the door open. Oh, there's a trap. I'm gonna check up here first before I go down to the trap. Cigarette butts. Tiumariti. I bet it's the kind that lady smokes. Oh, there's the radio relay tower.
A familiar apparatus lies among the reeds. Another one of Morel's traps, weighed down by stones to keep it in place. The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. Snow specks the stalks. Most of it melts quickly. The reeds seem to be waiting for something. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
I want to make it clear that I don't actually believe the phasmid exists, okay?
Of course. Noted.
You don't believe me. clothes laying around this place. I have to go all the way around the church. Of course. Look inside. Why is everyone putting their change inside these wooden things? Found some booze. That's cool. Cairn.
A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh. Hello there.
It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing. Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
So, you want to party?
What?
I said you should have a hat on.
So should you.
Come to think of it, I should. Where would I get one around here?
I don't know. Some kind of a store? Maybe a general store? Look, man. Fuck the hat.
Is that kind of language really necessary?
I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me.
What's your name?
Estelle.
Her hair is dyed blonde, with dark roots showing. There's a coarseness to her features, some masculinity below that timidness.
SL who? I'm not a young suitor. This is official police business.
Okay, it's Burger.
A very common name.
What's that device you have there?
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone.
And what's a contact microphone?
A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Nice. You could maybe bug someone with it. Wiretapping.
How does that thing work?
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble.
Where'd you get that mic from?
Same place I got the recorder from, the Palaceum.
What's the Palaceum?
Oh man, you haven't been to the Palaceum? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Sounds interesting. Who's this Arno guy?
Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck. Or really be a Palaceum going kind of person.
I get down.
I don't know what that means.
I grind.
I don't know what that means either.
Nor do I, but I have concrete evidence that I rock, in the form of a rec tape player in a completely trashed hotel room.
That's cool.
You're right, time has deserted me. I'm recording something here. You're right, time has deserted me.
Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps?
Actually, I had some non-mic questions for you.
Okay.
What are you doing out here in the cold?
Recording, I guess.
And what are you recording exactly?
I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound.
Wait, what happened to your headphones?
My boyfriend sold them.
What for?
I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
A lie. They were probably pawned off for something suspicious.
And what are these recordings for? The cracks, the footsteps?
The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device, the thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels childish, very useless all of a sudden.
Take this, you're called.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
You said it's supposed to be a music place. What is?
That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Palaceum, that's for sure.
And who are these boys?
The boys?
Yeah. Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
Why are you freezing out here while the boys are inside the tent?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room.
What stuff?
Music stuff, mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. And there's piles of it.
You mean like those headphones your boyfriend sold?
Yep. They were pretty. I'm sorry we sold those.
Why not just leave some of it outside so you don't have to freeze?
That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. I can take the cold. Go ahead.
Tell me more about this music place you've been planning in the church.
It's supposed to become, like, a club. For anodic dance music. Like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Palaceum. Except that... yeah.
What's andonic dance music?
You know, anodic, cathodic. Music that's made with electronic instruments.
Electronic instruments, like what?
Synthesizers and tape consoles. Microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that.
You see clear, beautiful, violent flashes of light. Light cutting through a smoke-filled darkness. That is what the future will look like, if it ever comes.
So you want to turn the church into a club?
I know. It's not my idea. Andre and the boys found the place. It was supposed to be deserted, but now they can't even take it. Hey, don't get me wrong, but you're cops, right?
Yes, why do you ask?
Okay, well... maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys. Because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right?
A haunted church? Sure, we'll look into it.
They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. Was there something else?
Enough about the church then. I had another
Go
question.
ahead.
Let's try this.
The device is still
did
warm
it.
from her touch and heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo, Omicron, adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside, the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands.
Sorry you have to sit here on the ice feeling miserable at your age or at any age in this weather, waiting for it to get dark.
She looks you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup.
The people who built this world intended it for it to be better for you, but they failed. It's easier to live in their failure than with this by your side.
The wind howls. She remains silent. It's real. Tell her.
It's not a childish fantasy. It can be a real weapon against what's coming for you now.
What is?
The dark.
I know. I'll stick to it.
Something changes between you two. She looks at you differently now, as an equal. a fellow human being.
So thanks, I guess, for the psych session. Maybe I can return it. What's been eating you, officer?
You said eating me. There's nothing eating me.
Come on, I can tell. But, okay. Be a boyadero about it if you want to.
I guess there is something that's making my life hell.
What is it?
People just keep putting their selfish interests ahead of the greater good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no one understands that sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for the sake of progress. It's all very distressing.
So, the thing that's been eating you is the slow pace of social progress?
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for slow and steady progress. I just wish people would be a little more reasonable is all.
Okay. So you're not that upset, it sounds like.
I told you, I'm highly distressed by this state of affairs.
Uh-huh. And you're sure it's social progress you're distressed about, and not, I don't know, some chick?
Perhaps.
I'm positive. Now, I've had some questions for you before all this started.
Go ahead.
Actually, that's it for now.
Okay. Bye.
I'll go to the other side here and check out some of these buildings. I can drop the bridge.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
What is this?
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
Okay.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Sweat and laundry detergent.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg!
Yeah, Egghead's probably one of my favorite characters, definitely, in the game.
Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
So how many music venues have you organized?
We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
So what are you doing here?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
There's no need. This place is pretty bad.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face. Don't fall for it.
Enough histrionics. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church. And I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that! The word!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
I feel like you may be laying this on a bit thick. What's so bad about these dopeheads and burnouts?
They're spooky.
What exactly do you mean by spooky?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
I'll look into it. Tell me more.
All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
What's the status of the church? I haven't gotten inside the building yet.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
What about the key?
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
Be the cool cop. I can do this.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly.
Thanks, man.
The speed freak nods to you. A respectful nod. You proved something here.
So how long have those people been locked in there?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
How can you be sure they haven't starved to death?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
85% is not good enough when you're dealing with another person's physical well-being.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I guess it wasn't very hardcore of us to just lock them in like that. Me too. I shouldn't have that kind of power over another person. I'm not the one with the violence monopoly here. You are. I'm glad that key is out of my hands now.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it.
Who exactly are these people inside the church?
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses.
You haven't even seen them and you want to get the police involved?
Well, there's also the machinery.
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it. Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
But you never physically saw anyone.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone, or something, eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it.
So what was this about something watching you?
Like you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man.
A crab man.
Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behavior.
Ambush behavior. Nod. Crabman.
Crabman!
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
So he hasn't even been in there lately. Is he afraid?
He never even saw this Crabman.
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
The implications of this are too numerous to consider. Proceed with caution. Learn all you can before entering that dark building. There probably is no Crabman. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
Can you tell me something more about this machinery?
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely.
So how can you be sure that they're burnouts and dope heads if you've never even seen them?
Well, honestly, I can't. But I am.
This is a below-feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
Wow, you can't, but you do. I should add weaponized idiocy to my own repertoire.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers. Don't let all that technology fool you. Where do you think the drugs come from?
Alright, let's talk about something else.
Sure. What?
You mentioned some kind of Ecclesiastes in the church. Who are these Ecclesiastes?
Oh yeah, that's a Meteor name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Before we go on, what do you mean by Meteor?
You know, of Meteo. Concerning Meteo.
Now humor me, Andre. What is the founding party?
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no?
They sound like exactly the kind who would want loud andonic music in their church.
You're right, they do.
The Pericarnassian church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance. Love is hardcore. Unity.
Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
You're right. How could the founding party be anything but enthusiastic? Dance music is about love, and so is the Pericarnassian church.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Yeah! Let it out! Let the disco happen! Bring the disco into this world! Get this church shit on, and then dance there, motherfucker!
You feel like you could go for a little disco when, or if, they get this club going. You've got it in you.
I wanted to ask you about this tent full of equipment.
Yes. What?
I see you brought your own water.
Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water.
It's distilled, too.
Oh, it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
Hate to tell you, but it reeks of sweat in here.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
And I also smell ether. Why?
Ether? I don't smell ether. Do you, Noid?
No.
It's mixed with a particular chemical scent, like a laundry detergent.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. It doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, Their jaws stay put and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now.
So what's with all the Nosafed?
The what now?
The Nosafed Ultra, you have a lot of it lying around.
Oh, the old Ultra. We,
He's like an actor, looking to the souffleur for his line.
I have a major sinus infection. Stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Can't even breathe.
You sound fine to me.
Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosafed is the shit.
Can I have some? I have some nose problems too.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away.
Alright, enough of this.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Actually,
Okay, so the Speed Freaks want to start a club for dance music. That much checks out. Youths like music. You feel as though you might have liked music more when you were young, too. But you digress.
What's the gist of it?
The gist of it is, they want to turn the church into a club, but a suspicious element has overtaken the building. It's very important to understand what the gist of things is. Always consult the gist before making up your mind. This is going well. Plus, and it has to be considered, you can't invent the future of dance music in this smelly old tent. Imagine if you had the church. That settles it. Analysis complete. Their story checks out. It still feels as if this didn't quite go as it should have. But
as always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah! Hi again. So, how are things going?
a number of things don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather around, kids?
Okay, kids, now gather around.
The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Their would-be leader is less amused.
Sometime in the past, I'm not sure where and how, I fell sick and became the shadow you see now. But before that, I have reason to believe I was a police detective.
But you still are!
Thank you for your kind words, but everyone in here sees I'm a disgrace to the uniform.
What happened?
Life tore me a new asshole.
That's a real downer.
Now, obviously, that might as well have been 1,000 years ago, but there's still some detective left in me.
The young speed freak is silent. He senses something is wrong.
You're sober. Was it hard for you to keep sober for this meeting?
We don't need drugs to be hardcore.
Shut the fuck up, Egg.
I know I wouldn't be as hardcore without drugs. The bottom line is, I know.
What exactly is it you know?
This isn't the makings of a club, it's a tent full of laboratory equipment for manufacturing drugs.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
Where's his friend? Did he lose his friend?
What do you mean, friend?
The other speaker. You only have one.
It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
You have no headphones. Wouldn't ASL need her headphones to spin a tape?
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing.
I know you pawned them, likely for lab equipment and drug ingredients.
I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients.
And now Nosafed here is for an active ingredient.
He said it was for his nose. What more do you want?
The distilled water, cornerstone of a clean lab.
And of all cellular-based life. What's your point, Lawbringer?
The ether in the air, a useful solvent, good for getting an acting agent out of a solution.
Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether.
There's no more need for me to pile on anymore, is there?
No shit.
In short, you tried to use the police detective to set up a drug lab.
That's... Come on, that's...
Preposterous?
I meant to say, not true.
So what are we going to do with you?
What do you mean, do?
There's resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing. The optimal way to go about this would be indifference. It begins by you telling him you don't care about any of this.
I don't really care. I just wanted to crack the case. Do what you want, and I'll do what I want.
Really?
Really. I wanted to ask you about something else.
You wanted to just ask me about something else?
Or you can tell me what the plan for the church really was.
He thinks for a moment, then opens his mouth, but closes it again, then finally raises his hands.
Things are just way too hard for an entrepreneur in this city. It's not like we're not going to turn the church into the wickedest club in East Revershoal.
Because we are! We totally are!
We just got to turn it into a speed lab first.
You know, to get our foot in the door.
And why did you need me?
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up.
They're not really spooky, are they?
No, man. They're spooky, all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
So, what now?
This is it. Judgment time.
I'll have to look into the spooker situation before I can decide what to do with you.
We can continue on an amiable path, right? No more misunderstandings, no more lies. Before you go, is there anything else you need? As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid. Good. It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading.
Sign?
Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align.
That's ridiculous.
See? Our signs are way off. I can already tell this social relationship is gonna take a lot of work.
Tell me about the machines you saw in the church.
Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
What's wrong with the supernatural?
Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it though.
The sickest. That's perhaps why it should be researched.
The supernatural. So you think it's real and that it actually exists?
Most of it doesn't exist. But there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist, because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff.
So why are you called Noid?
The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Does that mean we need sign matching?
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church.
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Welshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret.
Hardcore!
Is it?
It's hardcore!
I don't know what to say to that.
Skibber-dee, skibber-danger. I am the rearranger.
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think? The young man with the tape recorder
This is hardcore. Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega. Internally coherent.
Encore! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
Is it though?
I was just thinking that a moment ago.
One mind, one spirit. There's no other world. There's no other life.
Frickin' egghead. Alright. Maybe we should investigate the church. Or at least talk to her about the crab man. Crab people.
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us?
I'll help
With the
you, all right.
church? Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here.
The others told me you went inside the church. What did you see in there?
Oh, that. You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurting out "crab man" than the others.
We'll see. Go ahead and tell me.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still.
Go on.
And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall. Upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me. Right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
What does this crab man look like?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on. She obviously could. She already went into detail.
Come on, quit stalling on me. What did he look like?
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only made it scarier in a way.
A crab and a banger?
Yes, a banger. As in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw.
Yeah, gangster crab man. Yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't blame you. I mean, I wouldn't believe me either. I'm surprised Noid did. Andre I expected, but Noid...
I'd like to know more about your associates.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
Just answer the question, please.
Sorry. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
To the cops.
What about you? Tell me something about yourself.
Me? I'm a silver bird.
Aha, okay. Maybe I'll ask later about all this.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but...
Alright, I gotta see this crab man for myself.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area, its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent.
I think I hear something.
And then it's gone. Almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow.
What's happening?
The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Not really, but it's extraordinary. I've never experienced anything like this.
I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is.
Hey, what if it's something paranatural?
Please, detective, not this again.
He's trying to act dismissive, but at this particular moment, he's more open than usual to the idea of paranatural. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows.
On the ceiling?
Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away.
Follow the shadow's movements.
It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go? You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
There he is, the crab man in the flesh.
The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man.
Are you the crab man?
The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, And what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Yeah, I guess I have a bit of a problem. It's been getting out of hand lately. But...
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even know it.
Oh, I'm very in touch with my suffering.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc El Vino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Who do you think you are? Some crazy guy under the roof? What is this shit?
It doesn't matter who I am, Way. I'm just bringing you the message of the mother's love. She don't want you to hang yourself on your own stubbornness. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Saving perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
I'm going to ask you again. Are you the crab man?
Never known myself to be a crab. But if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it.
If you're not a crab, then what are you?
I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness.
You seem a tad derivative.
It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it.
What were you before you became a crab man and a woodcarver?
I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone.
I like getting my memory. I lost my memory too, but I like it. It's like I get to create a whole new one, a whole new me to start again from scratch.
That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore.
I don't do Dave's either. Names are out. I don't care what mine is.
That's not quite right, but you're getting somewhere. Any one of us could have been anything else. We are all one who sing the mother's glory.
What are you doing
This
here?
is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
Who's this mother of silence you keep talking about?
Oh, that's no simple question, I said. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will.
What will happen once you drink from this perforation?
I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
Didn't you just switch one drug for another?
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
Yeah, I'm not judging. I've got drug problems myself.
I can see, and it saddens me. But devotion can save you. It saved me.
Faith is a kind of a drug.
I heard that before, Way. And I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night?
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
Let's agree to disagree.
I know it will take time. Don't sweat it.
Still don't
I
understand
know it will take time. Don't sweat it.
Okay, I still don't understand what you're doing in the church.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the Mother's glory.
You should sing for me, the superstar cop.
I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
He lost his cool there for a moment. Seems you hit some nerve.
How did you even find this place, this church?
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, Way. It didn't belong to me.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
You've been here a long time. Do you know why this church was abandoned?
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
Some ravers want to turn this place into a nightclub.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me.
Wait, do they have reason to be scared?
Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway.
So what do you think about the nightclub, that is?
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
Do you know where the other spooker is?
¿Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
Wait, so there is another person living in the church, and it's a viejita?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
And you know where she is?
That's what I said, Holmes.
How can you not know when you both...
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
So you have nothing else to tell me? How she looks, what she does, who she is?
I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or...
Or search through her radio computer.
Okay then, thanks.
machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
Yes, but this machine looks like just the one in the doomed commercial area.
It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer.
Wait, let me investigate it.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Yvonne, it's me again. How are you?
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
I looked inside the core, but the tape on the filament just said log, February through March.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Fortress accident, like the one at the doomed commercial area?
I have two machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brune, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brune. That's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with?
Thanks, when I finish with this call.
Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is in white, silver, and apricot faience. The young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. In the darkness, you sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with their multicolored glass, as if you're a bug under a microscope. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips, and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You.
It's compassion.
As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
This is Dolores Day.
It's a mystery sprinkled with self-pity and regret. All you know is, this is the young mother of humanity, and that you should go. Do something else. Escape her sad, worry-worn look.
This is Dolores Day.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records.
You knew of the place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
What else do you know?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? A pang of guilt? The lieutenant is leaving something out.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Who conducted the raid?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
You're not sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
I don't remember being here.
I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Kim, are you a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a light motif below them both.
What shattered this mosaic?
Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned. Or just hooligans looking for something to break.
Who is this older woman?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
The motto, what does it say?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Lieutenant, this used to say afterlife, death, after...
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
There are cops that aren't bootlickers? Or what's the RCM motto now?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
Not very feminine.
Not at all.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
I have a feeling if I unlock that one, it's going to be another one that ends the game. Because as it explained before, he's not over. He had a romantic tryst that he's not over. I thought we were supposed to be looking for that other person. Near the canal southeast. I need to start heading back into town because I need to talk to the guy on the balcony. And that's 2100. So yeah, I think I'll just take care of the traps and start heading towards the town again.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
Lieutenant, can you make out what's inside?
No. I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer. Maybe some other small talk.
Can you still shoot though?
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I pass my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
Okay, that's where those things are. Prescription lenses. Maybe it sounds like Kim could use some of those. I got this. Just need to equip. Crowbar or cutters? Can't remember. Just a postcard that's worth $1. Great.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
Hold on, that is awful.
It doesn't help. You can still smell it.
What is it?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be.
Kim, what's that smell?
The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Eyes up, detective. Something's not right here.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the left leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Supposed to be the right leg, but whatever.
The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is, he's been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom-made. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
No, just the one on the back of his head.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us.
Rubowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
We know who this is. It's the working-class woman's missing husband, dead on the boardwalk.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband?
The leather jacket matches your description perfectly.
The bright blue lining? Well, he's definitely someone's husband.
What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Could it be related to the lynching?
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Agreed. If this somehow converges later, why not? But keep it simple for now.
Do you think he was drunk?
Oh, yes.
What about alcohol poisoning and liver failure?
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior.
There we go, 21. Okay. Yeah, I was right about that. Just double checking.
But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
What about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the Pox.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
Someone should be held responsible for this broken boardwalk. It's dangerous.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
Hold on, what about a field autopsy?
A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work.
Yes, but isn't that kind of sloppy?
Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest.
We found him. We should finish this.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
Take a look at that library card.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Méjean.
Good idea. There was plenty of information here to go by.
Well, I didn't expect to take on another murder case. I honestly never even did it in my first playthrough, so that's something new. Alright, I'm gonna go back and check that trap so I don't forget next time. Change. Zoom out, zoom out. I can't see anything, I can't see where I'm going. Bother talking to the guy with his kid yet. I might do that next time, depending. Here's the trap.
This is the trap Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. But the reeds hiss and shake in the darkness that has settled over the abandoned camp. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done.
One more time, I must stress that I don't expect to find a cryptozoological monstrosity to be in this trap.
Of course. Noted.
I've pretty much taken care of everything I can over there. There's enough stuff to do in town for now. Source extreme. Here's the fishing village. If I have to go all the way back there, I don't care. Oh, this is the bridge. Okay, I know where I'm at now. Church. Guess I do want to go down. Great. I can see my reflection. It's worth it to go over there. Actually, there was one thing. I was supposed to talk to a kid about the armor, so I think I'm going to do that next time. near the canal southeast of the village. Okay, so other side from where I was looking. Alright, well I think I'm gonna stop it here. Actually... Okay. That's the tasks that I can do again. Okay. Alright, well I'm having fun with my new playthrough, or the next playthrough I'm doing, and hope you'll all join me next Saturday, or today if you're watching this on YouTube, at 3 Pacific, and we'll be doing more Disco Elysium. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.